And the Bible says he gets a rock. You guys have the next verse up there? There it is. He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and he put them into a shepherd's bag. Then, only armed with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started to cross the valley to fight the Philistines. So what we learn about David in this situation is, number one, David took off what was hindering him. And number two, he only took what he needed. We see that? So here, as we sit on the brink of a new decade, as literally 2020 is just a little over a month away, we need to ask ourselves the question as a church: what is our Saul's armor? What is it that's hindering us? What is it that's restricting us from being free? What is it that's preventing us? What is it that has maybe seen its better days in terms of armor? What are we trying to hold on to that's not adequate to face the giants of today? What's Saul's armor? What are we trying to walk in that's overbearing? What are we trying to walk in that's cumbersome? What is hindering us? I'm going to tell you this morning what it is. What's hindering us is our greatest asset, but it's also our greatest liability. Our armor, our Saul's armor, if you will, it's our building. It's our property. I say this all the time, that we are a facility-rich but a resource-poor church. Ministry costs money. Ministry costs money. Now, we would like to think that just because we are extremely passionate about something, whether it's feeding people, whether it's handing out water to homeless, whether it's giving out candy like we did a couple of weeks ago, we'd like to think, well, just because we're so passionate about it, everybody else shares that same passion. But that's not true. We gave out candy, and guess what? Costco didn't be like, here's $1,000 worth of candy for free, just because you're passionate. No, it costs money. When we went down to Smart and Final to get some more, it cost money. So ministry costs money. There have been so many times in the time that I've been here that we haven't been able to face the giants that God has called us to fight because ministry costs money. I can't begin to even list out the number of opportunities we've just had to let pass, we've had to let go, that we haven't been able to do because we couldn't afford them. Well, how do we fix the problem? Well, let's go to Economics 101. We have 2 options. You don't have to be a genius to figure it out. It's you either increase your income or you what? Reduce your expenses. Now, that's it. You either bring in more or you spend less. So let's talk about increasing income. What does that look like for us? Well, first of all, I want you guys to know that you guys are an extremely generous church. You guys are a faithful church. When it comes to giving, you guys far outperform churches your size. I was at a finance conference last week, and one of the things I learned is that the national average on all churches is about 20%. 20% basically income comes in for the church. Basically, all churches nationally are at about 20% level. Do you know what your level is? Your level is at 43%. Our offerings double the national average of a church our size based on our demographic, based on all the factors. So I can't stand up here today before you and say, well, you just got to give more. Because giving here isn't the problem. It's obvious that you guys are doing what you can. But it comes down to a simple factor, is that what's given is simply not enough to cover the second part, which are the expenses. So, we look at, if we don't increase income, we have to reduce expenses. I want to show you an expense chart. I just kind of wanted to lay out kind of what's been going on. I remember, I used to have a pastor who used to tell me this all the time. He used to say, Elvin, tithers don't gripe, gripers don't tithe. Wow. And he said that all the time, but it's so true. The people that I hear complain most about our church, the people that I hear most complain about me, and I look and they're not supporters of this church. But the folks that are those that are going above and beyond, you guys are just so faithful. But I want to share with you. Oh, by the way, everything that I'm sharing with you today, I want you to know this. This is a sincere invitation to all of those that are faithful, that are regular tithers, regular contributors. I want you to know, first of all, that you have the right to know where your money is going. You are more than welcome. Please call Mark, set up an appointment. If you want to review our audited financial statements, we haven't had audited financial statements from this organization. Well, we started them when 2017, 2018. The last one we could find dated back to 2014. But you are more than welcome, and I encourage you to review any of these numbers I'm getting ready to share with you. But this is what our expense structure looks like. These, in kind of a simple form, this is kind of going back a ways, but this tracks our expenses. Back 2009, 2010, we had expenses of around $7 million annually. But if you look, this is 2017, 18, this is our current year, 2018, 2019. We have drastically reduced expenses now that our expenses total right at $3 million a year. Just this difference in between 2017, 18, and this year, 18 and 19, this gap right there, that represents cutting $900,000 in expenses out of our organization. So since 2014, we've eliminated $1.5 million in expense. Now, what does our expense look like? Well, I'll give you the biggest expense we have. It's our mortgage. Our mortgage, just to be on this property, what it takes for us. We all have mortgages, we all have rent, we understand it. Our mortgage is $27,000 a month. $27,000 a month, approximately. It's some change, but I'm just kind of rounding it up. For the year 2019, this year, in total, we're going to pay $323,762.76 this year on this property. And guess what? We're obligated to pay that for the next 20 years. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of expense. Amen? Yeah. Now, if I'm talking to somebody that can afford it, let me know. But that's a lot. But in the midst of maintaining these 20 acres, our water bill last year alone for the year was $92,000.
Wow.
$92,981.91. That was for water and sewer. That's for water to come in and to take it away. We spent nearly $100,000 that, in essence, went straight into the ground. It broke my heart to get up here last year, y'all. Remember I got up here and I showed you, well, here's our water bill. It's $15,000 this month. Ever since that happened, there was like this righteous anger that started developing in me. I was like, why in the world are we pouring $15,000 a month into the ground? And And I started thinking about how much could have been done, how much ministry could have been done with an additional $100,000. I started thinking about how many more people could have been saved, how many more people could have been fed, how many people could have found hope, how many people could have been restored if we had another $100,000 to spend and not pour it into the ground.
Amen.
I started thinking about how many more missionaries could we have sent around the world with another $100,000. I started thinking about how many more staff and people that we could have hired to take care of you, to take care of your kids. I'm sorry, but if it's just me or a handful, it doesn't meet the need. You guys deserve to have someone that can meet all the needs. I thought to myself, how many more giants could we have killed if we had not just put that money in the ground? I'm telling you, church, like David, when it comes to this expense, we can't continue to go we can't continue to go on like this. So what did David do? When it didn't fit, he took it off, and he took only what he needed. So that's where we've been. So where are we now? Well, where we are now is simply this. About 9 months ago, our board of trustees here, they tasked me with the authority to explore every available option to help us defeat this giant. And when I tell you that we considered everything, we considered everything. Everything. We talked about, well, what if we subdivided the land in the back? We got those 8 acres. Well, what if we cut that into, or what if we sold a portion of it to the city and built a park? I see Carrie in here. Remember, Carrie, we talked about that. What if we could turn this back part into a park like across the street, and then we ran into electrical? I mean, we started talking about all these. We talked about what if we could develop low-income housing back then? Or what if we could do a senior living facility back then? What if you know what we even thought about? We even thought about, could we get a Chick-fil-A or another fast food restaurant to lease the space on the corner up there and charge them enough that would offset so we can help cover. I mean, when I say that we talked about everything, we talked about everything. We talked about, well, what if we leased out part of the campus to a school, or what if we did this? There were lots of great ideas and lots of great options, but guess what? They all cost what we didn't have. And meanwhile, the water is continuing to rise. You guys know this story. It's the oldest preacher story, the oldest illustration.